Welcome back to Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelor Season 26, Episode 6. In this episode, Clayton chooses between Genevieve or Shanae on the infamous 2-on-1 date with surprising results, and after another rose ceremony, the 9 remaining women head to Croatia to continue to fall in love with Clayton, but things are getting more serious as feelings are on the line. Let's dive into this one. We continue this episode right where we left off. We are back on the 2-on-1 with Clayton having to choose between Genevieve or Shanae, and Genevieve is severely uncomfortable around Shanae, who is notorious for making lies about other women just to advance in the competition, and Clayton talks to Genevieve first, and Genevieve says that she is trying to just focus on Clayton while Shanae is creeping behind a tree. Genevieve opens up to Clayton saying she has walls and has had a tough week, knowing that the 2-on-1 date was coming. She says it's hard for her to be vulnerable, but she thinks they have a good connection, and ultimately Genevieve and Clayton share a kiss. But not so fast, because Shanae has conjured up a villainous plan, and when it's time for her time to talk to Clayton, she spins it making up a story about how Genevieve is just acting, which is pretty rich considering that in every one of Shanae's confessionals, she admits to acting herself, faking crying to gain some sympathy, and she does it again as she forces herself to cry and actually admits to Clayton that she has never been in love before. And Clayton admits that he does like her, but he knows she is constantly stirring up drama and can't get along with anyone. And when we meet back up with the trio, Clayton grabs the rose and turns to Genevieve and asks her if she is an actress. Genevieve is legitimately shocked and is dumbfounded knowing that Shanae is making shit up, and then Clayton, knowing that he probably can't keep making excuses for Shanae, gets up and walks away from them, which, side note, Clayton seems to walk away a lot, and shameless Shanae starts harassing Genevieve, and Genevieve tells Shanae that she is not engaging with her and calls her the actress. And finally, Clayton comes back and then turns and gives the rose to Genevieve. And Clayton turns and grabs Genevieve's hand and they leave Shanae behind. And then we are treated to a party montage of the women celebrating that Shanae was finally sent home, with some women actually crying that Shanae is gone. I mean, good God, this is sad that this woman did so much emotional damage to the other contestants, and there is some sense of relief as Shanae, who unfortunately will most likely be remembered as one of the most notorious villains in Bachelor Nation, who has finally gone home. 11 women remain. Well, now that Shanae is gone, where does the show go from here? Well, Clayton is seen reflecting after sending Shanae home, and he admits he feels a sense of relief, knowing that Shanae was extremely toxic, and ultimately keeping her around would jeopardize his other relationships. When Clayton meets back up with the remaining women, he addresses them, telling them that he is in a good mood and he is excited to move forward in their journey to find love together. Sarah pulls him aside first and they discuss his decisions he's made, and Sarah admits that she is feeling the feels with him as Clayton tells her that things are getting more serious. They end up kissing, and we also see Clayton connecting with Rachel, and they have serious chemistry and they seem to keep kissing each other. We also see a montage of Clayton connecting with Hunter, Teddy, Eliza, and then Susie. But Mara is starting to self-destruct with doubt as she knows she is most likely on the chopping block this rose ceremony, and she tries to romance Clayton with some food. She feeds him, but then is ultimately interrupted by Serene, and Mara is getting frustrated with the process. More on Mara later. We have made it to the 5th rose ceremony, and as a recap, Gabby, Rachel, and Genevieve are safe with roses already. Then Clayton calls out the following women in order, securing them another week with Clayton. He calls Sarah first, then Serene, next is Susie, then Teddy, Eliza, and the last rose goes to Mara, which means Human Resource Specialist Hunter and former Olympian Marlena are going home. 9 women remain. And then Clayton tells the remaining women that they are heading to Croatia. For week 6, Clayton and the 9 remaining women head to Hvar, Croatia, an island in the Adriatic Sea, which is a beautiful place with a medieval feel, and this is the country where Game of Thrones was filmed. We then see the women out in Croatia drinking these fun-looking drinks with cool straws, and then all of a sudden Clayton shows up and says that the first one-on-one date starts now, and all of the women are anxious to go on it, especially Mara, who hasn't gotten a one-on-one date yet. And Clayton ultimately chooses to invite Teddy, and they head off together where Mara is pretty upset. And it should be noted that now only Mara and Eliza are the only ones who haven't gotten a one-on-one date yet. Clayton and Teddy head off together as it starts to rain, and they spend the day walking around Hvar together, with them making a wish, shopping at a love boutique, and of course getting some ice cream. But even though the date is going well, Teddy admits that she has walls and has something to tell Clayton later on in the night. Then we see Clayton and Teddy head to the nighttime portion of their date, and Teddy still has something weighing on her. She tells Clayton that she loves that they had a normal date together, and Clayton thanks her for being patient, since Teddy was actually his first impression rose, and we haven't seen much of her since. But then Teddy finally tells him that she is a virgin, and she tells him that it's not about waiting for marriage, it's about waiting for the right person. Teddy then says that she has never been in love before, and ultimately doesn't want to get hurt. Clayton does his best to reassure her that all of her feelings are legit and validated, and he questions her definition of the right one. Teddy tells him that she wants someone who makes her feel protected, safe, and someone she can trust. And Clayton knows that there could be something special with Teddy, knowing that she was his first impression rose, and ultimately he gives the rose to Teddy, securing her another week with Clayton, and they end up kissing and connecting further. It's time for the group date, and 7 women are invited, which means each woman has a 14% chance of securing the group date rose. But before this group date, there is some animosity occurring, and it has to do with Mara. Mara and Eliza are the only ones left who haven't gotten a one-on-one date, and when the group finds out that Sarah is getting a second one-on-one date before Mara or Eliza has even gotten their first one, it is honestly rightly disheartening for them. And if I was Mara or Eliza, I would rightly want to self-eliminate, but more on this later. So 7 women head out to join Clayton on a group date. They meet up at a medieval looking place and see 2 Croatian knights fighting, and we find out that one of the knights is a woman, and the theme of this date is a warrior woman activity where the women get dressed up and do a series of warrior type activities. And honestly, this seems like a recycled thing from Michelle's season where the contestants have to showcase their strength and then eat some strange food in order to impress Clayton. Mara is trying hard to impress Clayton, but ultimately Serene wins the Warrior Woman Challenge and gets some extra time with Clayton, and then they are seen kissing as the other women walk away a little defeated. We head to the nighttime portion of the group date, and the group toasts to a fun evening, and we see Clayton and Rachel connecting again. And Rachel tells Clayton that she is falling for him so hard, but she is also terrified, knowing that feelings are getting more serious. And then they start talking about hometowns, and it seems like Rachel is definitely in the running for a hometown spot. They, of course, seal their growing love by making out some more. Meanwhile, Mara is still upset about Sarah getting a second one-on-one date before she's even had one for herself, and she tells Clayton just that, saying that it is his journey, but she has some concerns about Sarah, who just happens to be the youngest in the group at the age of 23, and Mara calls out Sarah for not being ready for marriage. It's really a cheap shot, but Mara does her best to undermine Sarah's relationship with Clayton, which it seems this feud started when they did that roast date last week. But despite the drama, Clayton gives the group date rose to Rachel, which should be noted that this is her second rose in a row, and honestly it seems like Clayton is zoning in on his feelings for our pilot Rachel. Then all of a sudden, Clayton gets surprised with a note under his door to meet him at the clock tower at midnight. Clayton is a little concerned, not knowing who wants to meet him, but he shows up anyway, and it's actually Susie who invited him. Clayton is overjoyed to see Susie, and they hug and kiss, and they climb the clock tower together. And Susie ultimately tells Clayton that she is falling in love with him. And Clayton is so happy, and they kiss some more. Hometowns are around the corner, so the women are stepping up their game. And it seems like since Rachel keeps getting all the group date roses, Susie had to do something special to get some more time with Clayton. Then it's time for Sarah's second one-on-one date, but before this date, Clayton is seen talking to Jesse Palmer and tells him that he is concerned that there are some women who are still here that might not be ready for marriage and ultimately that serious commitment with him. So Clayton goes into a second one-on-one with Sarah having this doubt, and he tells Sarah that there are women, aka Mara, who don't believe that she is ready for marriage. And Sarah is suddenly tearful, and then Clayton walks away again, and Sarah is left confused and distraught knowing that someone in the house tried to sabotage her relationship with Clayton. And then Clayton comes back, and Sarah pours her heart out saying that she is ready for marriage and that her feelings are in fact real for him. And then Clayton gives Sarah the rose, securing her another week with him. And then Clayton and Sarah depart, seemingly stronger, and Sarah walks home with the rose, ready to face the mysterious person who tried to throw her under the bus. And of course, we get another to be continued. Well, that's it. Another episode is in the books. Hometowns are around the corner where Clayton is getting closer to making some more difficult decisions. And of course, we are always teased with Clayton being broken at the end of his journey. Thank you for watching Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelor Season 26, Episode 6, Week 6. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to Whitney Alex Works for more videos in the future. See you soon for the next episode.